What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar with C-Zar Gets Crypto, and this is going to be a conversation about two different coins, HBAR and XDC. We're going to talk about HBAR first because in alphabetical order. That's why. I don't know. I'm on HBAR already. We're going to talk about XDC. If you want to see XDC and you don't want to see HBAR, skip through the video. It'll probably be halfway through or something. I'm going to try to make them more or less the same amount of time, and I'm going to try to go through it quickly, okay? Just because we are, I think, more obviously looking. These are coins that I've talked about that, while they were doing great things, while most crypto was doing bad, I had called that they would go lower, and I think now as time has kind of led on, those calls of lower prices are coming into fruition. So I just want to touch base on that, okay? With HBAR, I forget when my last call, my first video was like over here or something, and we went up. And some people thought like, oh, it's it's still going up, and I was like, no, I do think that we're going down. This is just a lower high, and we have been going down. We still don't have lower lows yet, but a flat base here. This last time that we were here, we bounced. We had a very nice bounce. This time we didn't have the same results, did we? We actually had a bearish engulfing candle afterwards. So, and we're hugging this purple line where we generally, if we come up, we reject it, right? We bounce right off it. We bounce right off it. But when we hug it, we break through it. We're hugging it now. We might break through it to the downside. And with HBAR, I think that it's become more obvious. What I was trying to say is that, compared to my previous videos, it's more obvious that we've broken out of this uptrend, right? We have not a lower low yet, or do we technically have a lower low? It is technically a lower low, at least on Binance, which is a pretty big exchange. So I take that seriously. But you can just see through this trend line, we've broken out of this trend, and that's okay. It happens. If we look on the daily, we've further marked the top by having this lower high in the RSI while being overbought, and we had a higher high. This is bearish divergence. Okay, so this just means you're getting exhausted. You've been doing good for a while, and now it's time to take a little bit of a breather. And that's all this is. I don't think that HBAR is going to go to new lows. It could. It is possible. But I think really what it's going to do, if we look at it on a weekly, it's going to form another higher low. We've got a low here. We have a higher low here. I think it's just going to form a higher low. And where is it going to go for its low? There's a couple areas, I think, to identify. So if I can get this on there properly, I think that's right. Okay, so I think that we do go below 5 cents. We're at 5.37 cents as of making this right now. You can see it over here. The 618 is at 5.11 cents. So I do think we go below that. We could go all the way down to 4.8 cents, but we could go even lower down to the 786. I think it is possible to go below 4.6 cents or around 4.6 cents. And this is an area that we bounced off of before. Maybe we bounced just slightly higher off of it. Something like that could happen. But all in all, I would expect that we at least go below this orange line. There's a high degree of likelihood that we find our support, our next level, our next higher low somewhere in this area. But to me, just from the overall look of this, if we were to take this low here to this, nope, not that low, but to this low, it coming down to the 886 is even possible. That'd be at 4.3 cents. So maybe we go to 4.3 cents. You could go even lower than that, but somewhere I would say definitely below this orange line, somewhere in this sweet spot first is where I think we should look. Let's look on the daily. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of data to go off of. So that's just my first impression. Somewhere between about 5.1 and 4.88 cents, somewhere in there is where I would look. If we take this low to high move here, we've got a 1272 at just below 5 cents and a 1618 at 4.4 cents. Again, to put it in reference, from this low to this high here, that 1272 is right at the bottom of this orange line to white line, the 5.1 to 4.88 area. So that really does look good for a low, I think. And the 1618 even is just below the 786, in between the 786 and the 886. Your 1786 and the 886 are right in line with each other. So this could be a possible area as well. I don't think that you'd go lower than this. This is an area where on a daily basis you had your lowest closes right here. So I really don't think that you'd go below about 4.3 cents, but you could go all the way down there. At the moment, my expectation would be that we bottom somewhere around 4.9 cents, but possibilities to go lower. On a daily time frame, we are getting close to the oversold zone, and I think that we could do one of two things, which is one, bounce off of it, or two, go into it. I think that the low itself will not be resolved until we've at least seen that. Can we go up in the meantime and then come back down? Sure, absolutely. Volatility is likely with stuff like this, but Don't buy every pump. If you've bought any pump here, you've caught a very bad moment. And this isn't financial advice, it's just my opinion, what I would do. But moving on from HBAR, I think down for now. Ultimately, I do think it's going to go higher. I've got very high expectations for HBAR, from high to low here. And I do think that's low. I don't think we go lower than that, right? I think that HBAR has a chance to go to $1.24, maybe even up to $3.30 by the end of this bull cycle. So I am very bearish or bullish on HBAR. I think it has great things in store for it. But first, before it does that, first it needs to bottom. But secondly, it needs to get above about 20 cents, 25 cents, somewhere around there. Get above this sweet spot. If we react positively with this, then we can start talking about these numbers. But I do think we have a good chance of going up here in between about $1.25 to $3.30 by the end of the bull market. Now, talking about XDC here, USD on KuCoin, because that's the chart to use. Looking at this month, man, it has not been a good month. We are sitting at about 5.89 cents right now. Looking at the daily, we did have a little bit of a day up the other day with Bitcoin. We went up 24%. Very good stuff, man. XDC, you are time and time again proven to be resilient, one of those top shiners in this market for sure. It's impressive. It is very impressive. But like Bitcoin, I would expect that you're going to give this back. After all this was a lower high. Exactly, that's what it was. You got a high here, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. If you bought any of these pumps, you would have been found sad a few days later. So don't be found sad. This isn't financial advice. Again, I'm not advising you onto what you're supposed to do. I am just telling you that, you know, what my opinions are. Anyways, looking at that, I'm just kind of being, anyways, I'm being a smartass because I got a silly comment earlier today. But let's see, from low to high, we're kind of in the middle of nowhere's land, which is fine. You know, it still is an overall lower high. I don't think we go higher than this. I do think we go lower. If we close below this 382, I would say that our likelihood for going down to the 618 to the 0.69 area is very high. And that would make sense to me. That would make a lot of sense to me because if we take this top here, draw a line there, it's literally in line with this 0.69, right around 4.2 cents, 4.19 cents, something like that. And then also, you know, if we take the bottom here of this range, it's kind of right there at the 786 at about 3.77 cents. So I really do think somewhere below 4.6 cents, if not potentially all the way down to about 3.7 cents is where we're going to find our low for XDC. I do think it goes lower, but just like HBAR, I think that it has very good things in store for its future. If we look here, you know, and before I actually get into that, you can just see, right, with XDC, you have this top here, this lower high here, higher high. That's bearish divergence to mark your top. Of course, you're going to have a top there. This is just healthy consolidation. I do think you're going to form a higher low. I don't think you go lower than this low here. And then ultimately, you know, XDC is probably going to have a move throughout this bull market that takes it above. I mean, I would think, man, it's at 5 cents. I think that you can break $1 for sure. I say for sure. You never know, right? But let's just see XDC here. Going to XDC Network, it's number 47 with a $819 million market cap. A 10x would be $8 billion. A 100x would be $80 billion. Is a coin like this worthy of being $80 billion? I think so. I think that's a high number, and it might not get there. But a 100x, just to put it in perspective, that would be what, $50? A 100x? No, I'm sorry. It'd be like 50 or $5.8. That's what it'd be. So just to put it in perspective, I know I'm bearish on it right now, but could this thing go all the way up here above $5? I think so. I really think that it has a chance to by the end of this bull market. So let alone these shorter extensions, which are not even above $1. I think XDC has great things in store for it. A 10x is minimum. I think you're not optimistic enough. There's some very good things in the works with this thing. If you look at this chart on KuCoin here, which as far as I know, it's the biggest chart that actually has this coin on it. You've got the most volume you've ever seen as you're coming out of these lows, as you're forming these highs here, breaking into like really showing strength in your overall trend. This is a good sign. I think it's a good sign. And I think that it's a sign of the things to come, primarily telling us that the highs that we're going to see are going to be very nice for this thing by the end of the bull market. But before that, we're likely going to go lower. On the weekly time frame, this RSI, you know, we could go lower and still maintain this overall uptrend that we're in. We've got these like lows here, lows there. I don't know. Maybe it's more like this. You could go down to your 50, something like that. Maybe it is a little bit less steep like that. I don't know. Hard to say. But you could still come lower and have a higher low. That's the main thing that I'm trying to say. And then from there, go up. Definitely a strong looking RSI, but it can go lower and still look strong. If we look at the daily here, you are showing weakness. You do have a high here, right? That's higher than this peak over here, this little peak here. And it is a lower high overall, so that is hidden bearish divergence. You see that in downtrends, which I would argue that we are. Lower highs, lower lows. And that normally marks continuation, which continuation from a lower high makes it a lower low to come. And then let's just see if anything agrees with this kind of before we sign off here. From bottom to top, you've got your 1272 right there at 4.6 cents right there. And your 1618, wouldn't you know it, man? This is crazy. You got a tip here, a tip right there at the 1618. If we were to take this low here to high, your 0.69, your white line is right there as well. You've got three very significant lines coming into play right around this 4.2 cent area, just below it actually. So I think there's a high degree of likelihood that you see prices at least go down here, if not potentially even down to like this closing area where your 786 is, near your 1886 extension, stuff like that. But that's all I got for you. Lower first, XDC, probably with the rest of the market. That's okay. It happens. You're doing healthy things. It's an opportunity for people who want to get into this to buy cheaper. Great. You should be excited because ultimately great things are in store for this thing, I think, by the end of this bull market. And that's really all I have to say. So if you guys like the video, leave a thumbs up. Subscribe to see more. I appreciate all of you very much. Thank you very much. Take care. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.